Oh boy, man, there's a lot to discuss, but before I discuss, I wanted to plug in. I am doing an American Horror Story giveaway. You can win these 2 pops. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel, of course, or if you're already subscribed, and also put down below in the comments section #Roanoke. But let's get started with the spoiler review of American Horror Story Roanoke Chapter 9. Holy shit, man. You might be thinking that I fucking love this episode. I am mixed about this episode. I'm going to go straight out the bat. I'm mixed about it. There's some things I really didn't like. There's other things that I did like. Here are some of the things that I feel it's like a conversation, man. You saw the episode. I saw the episode. A lot of deaths in the episode. Angela Bassett, Sarah Paulson, even Mordhook, or the guy who plays the butcher's son. We've seen him in the previous episodes, of course. I can't remember the name on him on the episode. I think his name was Chris or something like that. He even gets it. He gets it. The hillbillies get it, except one. Here is the problem with this episode, however, is the fact that they brought in a Blair Witch kind of mentality. They got a Blair Witch kind of flavor, and that was the kids in the beginning of the episode, and of course towards the end. The kids, big fans of the show, going to all the hot spots and stuff. Some of the acting of these kids were not very good. I didn't think they were that great. I thought the acting was kind of subpar for these actors. I felt like them getting there was a lot of just like things that people wouldn't do in this situation. There was things that were like, why did you do that, and why were you able to do that? Example would be the ending. Let's get to the ending real quick. The ending was Lee's the one that survives. I think we're mostly all wrong. I can't remember. I don't think anybody really said Lee. Lee survives at the end because she ends up being possessed. She ends up being possessed by the witch. The witch spares her, and then Lee just pretty much goes on a murderous rampage. Lee survives. Sarah Paulson almost survives. But when the officer, first of all, the officer would have saw that injury and would have called it in like this. She has an injury. Stay right there. Don't move. Maybe would check her as well. I would think they would check her to see if she has anything wrong with her. I mean, these are victims yet suspects. You don't know what's going on, so the cops would definitely try to but we've learned from this season, these cops are just incapable of doing shit. Even if it's somebody pulling a prank, they would at least send one squad car. I don't care how many times they get called there and it's just a prank, you still send somebody out. You just never know. So, him not knowing that Sarah Paulson had a gun and didn't even really kind of check to see was a little bit, I don't know about that. These kids going the blood moon and all that stuff, and if they saw a ghost, the assistant, of course, and they knew that the car was all flipped and bad and stuff. I know they wanted to go there for social media. They wanted to get big. They want to get famous themselves. But it's like, come on. I mean, are you really going to risk the blood moon and stuff? But then again, people are kind of dumb sometimes, so I guess so. The acting wise, there was one particular part that I just really did not like, and that was the one where the girl, I think it was Sarah or something like that. The girl's watching Lee get to the house, and she's like, oh my God, Lee's going to the house. We got to go warn him. And this and that. I'm like, why do you got to go warn him? How do you know that Lee, well, maybe, yeah. Actually, maybe Lee was the one that killed her friend. I couldn't really tell right there. It was so, kind of quick and dark. But then when I was watching the episode, I'm like, oh, wait, maybe Lee did kill her friend. But then again, when she's like, oh, Lee's going to the house, this and that, and then hearing Sarah Paulson's talking to Angela Bassett, she's like, oh, no, oh, this is from season this. Oh, my gosh, she's from Roanoke. They were fangasming while knowing that they're surrounded or there's something out there and seeing what's happening. This is a real situation. I don't think they would be fangasming over the stuff because they really felt like, oh my God, I'm watching TV. It just, I don't know. It just wasn't, I didn't like that particular, it just irritated me to see that. There was things I really did like though. There was when we do get to see the Butcher's son come in, or the actor who played the Butcher's son, he was really taking charge, man. He was really taking charge, and he got killed. There was some deaths in here that were really cool, especially being spiked and then being burnt. I thought that was really cool. The use of the cameras, of the GoPros and stuff. Of course, through this episode, you're really, really stretching the hidden cameras. They're really stretching characters holding cameras for a long time, because once again, I think in movies, and just like this episode, you go like, would you really, would you, fuck that. You don't record anymore. I loved Sarah Paulson's scene where she's like to the hillbilly guy, like, say that again, and then she shoots him. That was my favorite part of the whole episode. I thought that was a funny, great fucking part, and it really kind of like made sense. Another thing is, like, Angela Bassett looks at the tape and rewinds it, and looks at the footage. I feel like we want to. I know, I get it. It's a show, editing purpose. I feel like she wouldn't be going through, like, she wouldn't be fast forwarding all that footage. I feel like she'd be watching that footage and then she'd turn it off. She'd be like, whatever, I don't care. I just want to live. I feel like she would definitely not look at that footage, and then Lee's part would definitely not come into play so fast while watching that footage, because there's a ton of footage on that camera. So, I know it's just a show. I know it's an episode for editing system and editing purposes, and also, of course, for moving the forward story, including, with Lee. I mean, Lee comes in the house with a fucking hatchet, and she's bloodied. She's speaking nonsense, and the Bassett's not scared. Gets pushed over the rails, gets spiked on one of the. She gets impaled, basically, Angela Bassett, when falling down from the stairs. I really feel like there were some things that just kind of like, they could have maybe touched up or brushed up a little bit, clean up a little bit of the writing. I felt the writing could have been cleaned up just a tiny bit. I felt like the deaths of the remaining characters, especially of the house, Sarah Paulson dying, it makes sense, but the way it was just handled, I feel like that particular death could be handled so much better. I had no problem with Angela Bassett's death. I had no problem with the kid's death. I really didn't think the kids really brought anything to the table except for shock value and for pulled footages and images from iCloud. I thought that was kind of a cool little spin too. But overall, Lee surviving, I'm okay with it, because she was possessed, and it makes sense for a person to be possessed to them to just leave them there. What I'm not okay is just the Sarah Paulson death and how it could have been done a little bit better. And also, was Evan Peters' character not... I mean, it feels like this is the end. It feels like one more episode just to clear some things up. But then there was characters that these other actors were playing in the show, like the medium. Where was the medium at? Evan Peters' character, where was he at? I mean, the man who this is his house, and he didn't show up once. We saw a little bit of the nurses in the season, or when they went back. But overall, it's just like, where is... where is all these other characters that we saw? A little bit of the butcher, we saw the witch, but where are the other characters? So, and the pig boy, and all that stuff. It was interesting that we didn't see a lot of the other characters that I was kind of hoping for. Overall, it was a good episode. It wasn't my favorite like the other previous episodes. It was pretty funny to see Lee versus Lee, and then Lee getting killed. It was cool to see Sarah Paulson kind of take charge a little bit in this episode. It was cool to see Lee be possessed, because if anybody's going to live, Lee is probably the one to live, especially when she goes mad crazy like The Shining. But it was the witch's doing, of course. But overall, I just feel like if they're going to the next episode, I haven't seen the preview to the next episode, so I'm thinking that they're going to clear a lot of things up. I don't think Lee's going to go back to that damn house, but she has to explain a lot. I don't know if she still has the footage. I'm pretty sure they gathered all the footage that they can conjure up. They might be doing a special for Roanoke, the true story. Don't know. But overall, it's been a solid season. It's just this episode was okay. It was good, but it just wasn't. I was hoping for a little bit maybe smarter better writing when really I felt like I've seen this before in a horror film, of course. Even when the spiking of these kids, it kind of reminded me of an Eli Roth film, but like very, very, if Eli Roth wasn't so over the top and if he was so simple, that's what it kind of felt like. Because, burning victims would be screaming at the top of their lungs, and I was waiting for those screams. I was ready to cover my ears, but I never heard it. So, but what Roanoke is doing such a great job is presenting the horror aspect to it, the gore aspect, and balancing it really, really well. So, pretty good episode. Wish it was done just a little bit better than previous episodes and stuff. I mean, I know I'm maybe nitpicking too much in this episode, but that's how I felt watching the episode. Like, I really enjoyed it, but then there's things like here and there, and it's like, that doesn't really, I would never, I know it's Roanoke and these spirits and, the blood moon and stuff, but still, like, these characters, putting my brain in these shoes, if that makes sense, like, they would do things a little bit differently and a little bit more smarter, and I felt like that they just really kind of went back to that horror movie kind of trope where you're just sitting there like, why the fuck are you doing this? So, thank you guys for listening. I'm Dana Man, you Dana's son. If you want to win these pops, just go ahead and subscribe to the channel right down below in the comment section. # Roanoke. What did you feel about the episode? Am I right on this or am I wrong? Let me know. I'm Dana's son. Until next time, until we talk more American Horror Story. See you guys later.